Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey, David, how are you doing tonight?
Good. And I'd also like to welcome the thousands and thousands of cultomaniacs, Bruce, who regularly tune into this. You know, they come for the high grade video quality standards, the production standards, that are what is that in your hand? Second to none.
This is
You can
Edmonton
pull it
Oilers,
back a bit. It's pull it back,
Edmonton
pull it back,
Oilers
pull it back.
Christmas wreath.
It's very psychedelic right now. It's kind of
Okay,
so they come for moments like this, Bruce, and they stay.
there you go.
Just
To pull back further than my headphones.
that was good. Yeah, now you're all
I got that.
discombobulated. We are lucky, Bruce, to talk to I think the smartest hockey fans on earth on a regular basis. So here we go. Big win for the Oilers tonight, Bruce. That was such a big, and you know what? We've had probably what would you say, 5 wins like this year that have separate the Oilers from the decade of darkness. 5 wins where the Oilers had come up with kind of statement wins, games that they would have probably lost in the past for one way or another, usually bumbling it away due to their ineptitude at pretty much all facets of the game. But if we're completely honest, but this time around, that was just such a fantastic win, 3-2 win over the Vancouver Canucks, highlighted by an utterly shut down third period by the Edmonton Oilers. Just a great victory. Let's get to our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. And because it's a win, we actually stretch it out to 4 good things, 2 good things each. So it's a special occasion. It's only going to happen about 50 times this year, Bruce.
Well, let's hope so. Yeah,
Or maybe 60.
It needed to happen. It needed to happen this week, and they waited till Sunday for it to happen. And for that reason, after losing 2 straight in regulation and having to deal with some tough breaks. I mean, they were a short-staffed team. There was only 19 men that flew on the airplane from Edmonton to Vancouver last night, and those are the 19 guys who played in the game. The backup goalie flew in from California. They had no extra guys in the press box, and whilst it was always obvious that they would probably bring in the guys that didn't play last night after losing 2 in a row with the same lineup, they didn't really have a choice on who they pulled out because the circumstances took care of that with Zach Kassian getting a back tweak and Chris Russell getting called home to be on the scene for the birth of his child. So, I mean, that's actually a good thing. But what it meant was that there was a place for Matt Benning to get into the lineup without the Oilers needing to bench anyone. Like I thought last night they might put Benning in for Caleb Jones. Instead, we had Benning playing with Caleb Jones, at least for part of the game.
They were pretty good, too. And congratulations to Chris Russell.
Well, let's hope it all came out all right.
Yeah, we don't know, do we? I haven't heard. I didn't know. Yeah. All right, let's hope about that. Okay, Bruce, what is your first good thing?
Okay, well, a massive team effort, really. But I'm going to single out or quadruple out the top 4 defensemen who played a monster game for the Oilers, and especially in the third period when they were the only 4 guys that ever saw the ice after Matt Benning left the game with yet another head trauma. They parked Caleb Jones on the end of the bench for the entire rest of the game. And in the third period, Adam Larsson played 9-19, and he looked like Adam Larsson from 3 years ago. That's the best I've seen him play in a long time.
Bruce,
and he won a ton of battles in front of his net and behind his net.
That's exactly what I said in the game grades about Adam Larsson. He looked like 2017 Adam Larsson, and we haven't seen that. Certainly not this year, and for large stretches of last year. So, and he started the game with the usual slow feet that have plagued him, I think. But he just got more and more confident as the game went on. So great to see.
Yeah, he won a ton of battles. Same third period. His partner Oscar Klefbom played 9-24, and the other pairing, Ethan Bear played 9-55, and Darnell Nurse a whopping 10:36 in the third period. And I thought all four of them were excellent.
Weren't they?
Just winning races to pucks, getting pucks, making safe passes. When someone was on them, checking them, they weren't like forcing bad passes. They weren't making mistakes. They were keeping the play to the outside. And they got the puck out of the zone time and time again. Man, how many times did the Oilers flip the puck out of the defensive zone in the third
Wasn't that a
period?
nice
Like
play?
30 feet high. I bet you a dozen to 15 times in the period.
And when that works,
Aerial.
Bruce,
Oh.
when that works is when you
Mm-hmm.
actually have forwards who are willing to work on the forecheck, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do that and the forwards are kind of coasting out or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or dragging their butt off because you've been cycled to death, right? It
Right.
doesn't work when you've been cycled to death and everyone's dead tired, but it works
Right.
as a strategy when everyone's fresh. It's kind of, and it is your strategy. Get the puck out, forecheck them, like bottle them up, and that's what we saw in the third period. Every single line, the Draisaitl line, I thought struggled throughout the game, more than the other lines, but every single line came up with a solid checking effort in the third period. And how many times have we seen that in the last, the decade of darkness plus? We just haven't seen it. We've seen it somewhat this
Yeah.
year, now and then,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw it. We saw it again tonight.
Well,
Yeah,
Draisaitl gave him a one-goal lead at the 46-second mark of the third period, so they had to make that lead stand up for basically the entire period. And they did. They did all that. They held it to the end, and it was the Oilers that had the flow of play that outshot Vancouver in the third by a good margin, 12-8. I think you had scoring chances at 4-0 for Edmonton, and it was the Oilers were, uh, just strictly the better team down the stretch. I'm not sure they had been through much of the first two periods, but they hung around and then they took the game over.
yeah, and credit. Speaking of the defenseman, on the first goal, Ethan Bear set off the virtuous cycle by pinching down hard on the boards, and Darnell Nurse just made a really fine pass, kind of unlike Darnell Nurse
Well, I
like.
keep reading that he can't pass the puck, and I'm looking at that goal and I'm saying, well, I think that was a pass, and it was a shooting. It was a shooting pass, and it was a beauty play. And even Josh Archibald couldn't miss. I mean, how good of a pass is that? I shouldn't do that, but you know what I
He
mean.
just
It
did.
was, yeah.
Hey, it's okay, man. It's okay. Josh Archibald would even chuckle at that. I'm sure
Oh,
that
yeah.
that's what everyone's saying on the plane right now. So Bruce, my good thing, James Neal. That was
Hmm.
one of his best games of the year. Like he really stepped up to play well with Connor McDavid. They combined well throughout the game. I mean, Neal isn't fast, but he's very smart. And when he gets his mind to work hard, and he usually does get his mind to work hard, he's a very hardworking player. He has been this year at least, and take the body. He can make some good plays. He got off a number of really strong grade B scoring chances. Don't think he had any grade A ones, but he made possibly the play of the game. That
Oh,
feed in the slot to Draisaitl on the power play in the third. That was the kind of, and not, I shouldn't do this, but it was the kind of pass Milan Lucic never made, Bruce, not once in his entire time with the Edmonton Oilers. But James Neal has made great passes, probably five, six, seven times already with the Oilers in his short time here because he's calm with the puck and he's got good hands still. And he threaded that over to Draisaitl, who pumped it in the net. So James Neal, more than 20 minutes of play as well. So good
wow.
for him. Yeah,
Right.
I bet you that's a first this
Hmm.
year.
Yeah, I think
And
so too.
heck of a game. He really stepped up to play with McDavid. I mean, Tippett shuffled the box here. He changed everything up partly because he had to. Broke up McDavid and Draisaitl for one of the first times this year,
Hmm.
and McDavid Draisaitl didn't really bring his A game. Actually, he was, and we're going to get into that a little bit. He certainly did in the shooting category, but the
Hmm.
rest of his game was off. I thought, but McDavid was fantastic, and so was James Neal. What is your other good thing?
Uh, well, my other good thing is going to be the work of the bottom six, and particularly I enjoyed the forechecking pressure of the Gaetan Haas, Patrick Russell, Marcus Granlund line. That had several long shifts where the puck was in Vancouver's territory the whole game. They did score one goal on a very hard-working play that I thought was stolen. Patrick Russell's first career goal, finally.
Don't you
And
think that was the right call?
I don't. I
I,
don't
I
like
did,
that
Bruce.
call.
Okay, why
Yeah.
not? What's your argument that it was the wrong call?
Because the call was on apparently on Haas bumping into the goalie 2 or 3 seconds before, And the refs told Tippett that the goalie didn't have a chance to get set for the shot after that when the puck came out, it got passed around, and he did push off, and he just got beat across the net. And, I mean, part of my problem is I have a long memory. And I remember one in Los Angeles when Lucic was a king. So that'll put it in 2016 when Lucic skated through the crease and slew-footed Laurent Brossoit from behind. Brossoit went down hard. He was on his side. The puck went off to that side of the ice, and Brossoit was lying down trying to get his glove up on the puck, and the right winger had all day to pick it up and shoot it over him. And the referee said Brossoit had time to get back to his feet and get set. And of course, the moment that he leaves his prone position to start to get up, the guy's just going to shoot it into the net. Like a goalie can't do that. And you see that, I mean, he got slew-footed, and that was fine. And this little tap on what was basically two, guys barging around in front of the net playing hockey. Do you think that goal would ever have been disallowed if it been scored against Edmonton? I think Anaheim scored that against Edmonton, it would have been disallowed? Not
Bruce,
a freaking chance.
one question the referees did not ask themselves on that play?
Mm-hmm.
What would Gaetan think?
Exactly.
Bruce,
Oswald Entwistle, but I feel so sorry for Patrick Russell.
Oh,
he
yeah.
played a great game. Man, he must have won 40 puck battles in that game, Patrick Russell. He's
I feel bad.
all
I only
around
gave
the
him a
puck.
6.
All around the puck. He was everywhere.
I thought
he was
Granlund
terrific.
and Haas. I thought actually Haas was the best of the three. Maybe I'm kind of partial to him, but Bruce, I think they have a third line center. I think they
Maybe.
do. He can skate and make plays. Like of course you'd like to see a little bit more production, but they just took a point away there. Nonetheless,
Yeah.
I like his skill, I like his speed, and I think he's a smart defensive player. So his results haven't been great, but I see that there's someone there who in the next few months can, if they give him more playing time. Like I don't think Riley Sheahan's a third line center. I don't think he's ever going to be. Like he's been in the NHL forever. He doesn't have the speed. But Haas, he's got a chance.
He does have the speed, and he's got some gumption. He actually showed a little bit of greasiness in the scrum and stuff tonight, and I think bring it on. I mean, you're a bottom six player. You're not going to be pretty 100% of the time. You gotta have some dimension to your game. And to me, his issue is not his speed or his thinking of the game. It's just sometimes he needs to be a little harder on the puck.
Yeah,
and
I think he's
harder
pretty
on his
light.
feet. Hang on to his damn stick. That's another big
Yeah,
problem
he's a little bit light, I think. Like he's not the biggest guy. He's not stocky or big. He's a smaller player.
No, he requires on the darting style of play, and it's effective when he plays well. And I'd like to think that there's an adjustment period after which he's going to start playing well more frequently. We certainly saw his top end of his game tonight. I would have to agree with you.
I like him. All right. My other good thing, Bruce, is maybe the deadliest, but possibly the deadliest play in the NHL is the Oilers setting up Leon Draisaitl cross seam on a one-timer pass. There may be better weapons in the NHL right now, but we're tracking one-timer shots that get on net. So far this year, Draisaitl has had 31 one-timer shots on net, most of them from that spot, and he has scored 11 goals on those 31 shots. He's 35%. So that's like a AAA scoring chance shot. Yeah. I'm saying, and if anyone wonders, Draisaitl's shooting percentage is unsustainable, I would point to that. Okay, are you actually watching the games and looking at the shot quality, trying to measure it, try to figure this out? Because if you do that, this particular hammer is it's a trump card. You just throw it down, trump. We got the hand.
Well, he's got so many things in his favor. He's got that cudgel of a stick that's got that big, almost goalie paddle surface area on it. So any puck in his neighborhood, he's generally gets good wood on it. But he has a instant one-time release with heavy, real heavy, accurate, a quick release shot from good position, coming typically off of a good pass, often from McDavid. I mean, that's a lot of chips in your favor for why that shot's got a little better than average chance to find the back of the net. And Leon, you may remember this year I went down to the open practice at the beginning of training camp, and Leon was down in my end practicing one-timers. I swear, David, he took 300 or 400 one-timers in the last 20 or so minutes of that practice, and right in front of me. And his guy was feeding pucks over him, in front of him, behind him, in his feet, hard, slow. And Leon would react to it and whack it on the net, and he almost never missed the net.
Do you
And
know
it was
how
just work,
tired
work,
your
work, work. Yeah, yeah, I know.
how
Your
tired would your arms
arms
be?
would be.
Okay, if the average person did that, after 5 shots, they would be spent. Okay, like the average
Uh-huh.
non-athlete. But even an athlete, like someone who's
Yeah.
in pretty good shape, you give them 50 shots, 50 to 100
Mhm.
shots, like they are done. Like that
Right.
is an amazing. If you're not exaggerating here, Bruce, and I'm not accusing
I'm
you of it,
not.
but
No,
if you took that
hundreds
many,
of hundreds of
if
shots,
if
David.
you
I
took
mean,
that many
maybe it
shots,
was
that is
only 200, but it wasn't like 10. It was like over and over, like he was down there for many minutes doing nothing else but one-timers.
wow.
And
It is an
it was a
amazing.
joy to watch, and just see how hard he was working at it, and that that skill, and that's the kind of the 10,000 hours that many of these guys put in. That when tonight, when Leon Draisaitl had two chances, not 200, two chances like that, both of them were rockets into the back of the net. Done. Set me
And
up there, bam, done deal.
he got one of them. He was outside the dots. He was like 3 feet, 2 feet outside the
Hmm.
face-off
Now,
dot
one
on.
that got saved, eh?
No, no, the one he
Or
scored on,
that?
the
Oh,
first one he
right,
scored
right,
on.
yeah, yeah, okay.
And that's not unusual. He will
No.
often, and I remember having a debate with someone. I can't remember. It might have been Jonathan Willis, but I can't remember for sure. And we were trying to like because we have fairly strict definitions for what is a grade A chance and what isn't. And one of us, and it might have one of us was arguing. That Draisaitl shot from that spot has to be considered a grade A shot, even though it's outside of the home plate area. It's not between the dots. It's not right in the center of the ice, but you have to consider that a grade A shot. And of course, we do
Goalie's
now.
moving?
Yeah, the
I
goalie's
mean,
moving.
he's got more net. He's looking at more net when the puck is leaving his stick than many people are if they're right directly in front, but with the goalie in position. They're looking at little holes in the corners, right? I mean, Leon's looking at the whole height of the net and a foot or two, even from a bad angle. And bang! I mean, if the goalie has no chance to get over there, that's more than a grade A. That's a grade A plus or double A
Well,
or
like
triple A, whatever
triple
we're
A
doing
30,
for the
the
Edmonton
30,
Trappers quality scoring chance.
the 35% solution. All right,
Oh.
what is your bad thing?
Well, now that I've ranted about that 8 years old Milan Lucic foul on Brossois, I'm going to go with the terribly unlucky Matthew Benning. 5 games on the shelf with a concussion after getting clubbed by Evander Kane in a foul that apparently went unnoticed by both NHL referees and Department of Player Safety, and I'm still upset about that. Anyway, he missed 5 games, came back tonight to fill in for Chris Russell. When he gets gonged by a slap shot from the 5 point, somebody tips it and hits him right in the head. First game back from concussion. And he missed a bunch of time. And then he came back and he played for a bit, and then he went off and he stayed off. So I'm also questioning a little bit why was he allowed to return to the game
Well,
if his ears are ringing, you know.
he got hit on the ankle, I think. He
Yeah,
blocked another shot,
yes, he
and
did.
but he really blew a check. Like there was a really good. I think that was JT Miller who got a breakaway because Benning
Uh-huh.
came in and kind of
Went right through him,
just
yeah.
missed him. Yeah, it was kind of a weird play. Then they pointed that out on the broadcast. So maybe he wasn't feeling
But
quite
anyway, Tippett said
quite
it
right.
was the head and not the foot that was the reason he didn't finish the
Oh,
game.
well,
So,
maybe I don't know. I don't know what they do have a protocol. Hopefully they're sticking to it. And there's a lot of the line for anyone
but,
who's playing
but
hockey
if
by
he's had 2 concussions in 2 weeks with a previous concussion history, this is bad news and very unfortunate. Standing around and got hit by a rocket of a shot right in the beam.
it's terrible news. That's really really tough for a player, and that's you just hate to see that happen. And Matt Benning is such a hardworking player who was before he got hurt playing the best hockey of his NHL career. I think it's fair to say. My bad thing. We've praised Leon Draisaitl, and now I'm going to not praise him. Bruce, his play on the second Vancouver goal. So You can't have that. It's a point shot. There's some traffic in front of the net. There's a rebound. There's two at that point. There's two Oilers in front of the net, and there's two Canucks. Oscar Klefbom has his man, but because Draisaitl has been puck watching and wandering and not thinking about what his job really is, which is to help cover people in front of the net, he's off to the side in the red light zone, which is not covering anyone, not blocking a pass, not blocking a shot. That's the red light zone in the slot. He was there. The puck goes to his man or to the one open Canuck, and it's a goal. And the only thing I would say is Draisaitl and McDavid, of course, have been switching off and on center, and there's that unfamiliarity almost, I think, when they're asked to play center full time. I think it's still a bit of an issue. I think both of them defensively, there's no doubt defensively they would be better off just centering their own lines. Offensively, it's hard to argue with what's happening because they're just such a dynamic combination. So I'm not saying a lot about it, although I've kvetched about it in the past. I'm not going to complain about it now because this line has been working, but there are some defensive problems that emanate from them playing apart and them not being completely familiar with their defensive role. And you see it in both of the players. Although McDavid tonight, he was really on defensively. He came back hard on a couple of back checks and broke up plays, but it wasn't Draisaitl's night on defense.
Yeah, so did Leon on some. And is that big paddle of his won some battles in the defensive zone? I remember him making a great tip of a dangerous pass that was going right through the slot. And he swung around on the backhand and picked that one out. Not sure if it was out of the air, but it was certainly one you wouldn't expect him to get. So he does make hero plays, but
He does.
He does have lapses. There's no doubt about it.
In the third period, he was as solid. And, when the game was on the line, they had him out there. He can be a great defensive player. He often is. People were talking about the Selke trophy for Leon Draisaitl. I honestly never understood that.
It's premature.
But he can be a great defensive player. I think he needs to play one position on defense and not two often at the same time, because I think it's a bit confusing even for as talented a player as he is. Bruce, what is your number?
I'm going to go with the subtle number tonight. I already gave you a bunch of time on ice stats and stuff, but 47. And that was the total number of face-offs in the entire game, meaning there was only 44 whistles all night long. The game started with one continuous sequence that lasted for 8 minutes and 8 minutes and 37 seconds. I think it was 11:23 where the first whistle. The entire game went. And it just speaks to, sometimes that's a stat that shows you the pace of the game. That, they're not goalies aren't freezing pucks. They're not going offside and icing it all night. They're just going back and forth. And this was a hard, fast skating game, very enjoyable game to watch. And part of that was the puck was in play and it stayed in play.
Yeah, that was a fast game. I liked it. Okay, my number is 0, which is the number of grade A scoring chances the Vancouver Canucks had in the third period. And you're going to review the game. Maybe you'll see something I missed. So maybe there was one I missed, but I didn't see any.
Koskinen made one grab of a low shot through traffic that was tough, but it was from a long ways out. So I don't think it was really in our grade A zone.
No, I think he had a clear sight of it the whole way, right? So that's what I'm looking for on a hard outside shot. There's got to be some traffic, or goalies have got to make that save. It's a grade B scoring chance, but it's just not a grade A chance. So
would you like him going into the corner with the puck and playing it with like 20 seconds left and 6 attackers?
I like everything about the big man. I'm okay with him. Like, he is haven't mentioned him until now. And it's when he didn't have a lot to do in the third period, but he was the reason the Oilers won this game in a big way. Like, it's the same formula that we've seen so much this year: Koskinen, Draisaitl, McDavid, and everyone else doing enough. Klefbom also had a really great game, but to get back to my point, they were checking every single line, was playing not only hard working hockey but smart hockey. It is, and that's what's so interesting. I'll use that word too about this Oilers team, Bruce, is the smart hockey. We saw some smart hockey, I think, under McClellan in 2016-17. Certainly Klefbom and Sekera, Russell, Larson, those four defensemen in that period played smart hockey together. This time, though, we saw it line after line after line, keeping the Canucks to the outside, no grade A chances, bottling them up in the neutral zone. Vancouver was not threatening. They didn't threaten in the third period. And that was because of smart hockey, not just hardworking hockey, but smart hockey. How great is that?
Edmonton winning races to pucks, two or three good short passes in their own zones to guys that were actually skating, and then any kind of forechecking pressure, just dump it out with the old alley flip scoop pass, um, and they kept it pretty simple, and those minutes just kept ticking on down, didn't they?
Yeah, it was fantastic because they really needed to win that game. Because if they had
Yeah,
lost, well,
yeah.
it's such a long season. If they had lost,
Oh,
it
I
would
know.
just be another loss. But
Well, it
again,
would have been another loss that kind of would have taken the edge off of the fast start that they had, right? They've been treading water. They need to keep treading water, and then the next streak that they have needs to be a winning streak. And it almost doesn't matter when it is. They just can't afford to have a long losing streak.
yeah, it's interesting, Bruce, when you look at the prognosticators who are looking in their crystal balls into the future, which nobody can really do, but we all love to do.
Reading the
Um,
horoscopes, yeah.
yeah, like the power rankings, and then there's some who project into the future to predict the playoffs. So the people who are doing the power rankings that actually look at the teams right now tend to rate the Oilers where they are in the standings, which is like between fifth and sixth overall or something like that in the NHL standings. But people like so there's Dom Lucian, I think is how you pronounce
Yeah,
his name. I could be
yeah.
incorrect, but Dom Lucian of
Hmm.
the Athletic, and I really like his work. I think it's really super solid, and I put a lot of store in. In as much as anyone can predict something, he's got a method and a system, and he's trying to follow through on it. And I think it's actually fairly it's as rational as you can get when you're trying to predict
Right.
the future.
Hmm.
So he's got the Oilers as kind of a coin flipped, little bit better than average to make the playoffs.
Hmm.
And I haven't been able to blame him. Like I don't think he's some kind of Oiler hater or out to get Edmonton
Right.
saying that. I just think it's
Oh,
a very reasonable thing based on the way this team's collapsed in the past and just how much they have invested in a handful of players.
yeah.
So though you combine those two things, and this has been it remains an iffy proposition. And games tonight remind us of that because we're all on the edge of our seats wondering, are they for real or are they not for real? Are they, is this fake news or is this the real deal?
Yeah, well, often those models are heavily emphasizing 5v5 play.
Yeah.
And at 5v5, the Oilers are an average team. In fact, they're -3 on the season, goals for and against. And where their advantages and where you can't really say they're going to keep outscoring to this degree on special teams, but that's where they've been doing it. And, that's what they did tonight. They had two penalties to kill. They killed them both. They had two power plays, and they scored both times, right? The special teams were 4 for 4, won them in the game.
I
Again,
really, I really liked McDavid actually on the. I was the one advocating to change the power play, of course, and fortunately they didn't
I
listen to
remember
me.
that.
And
40 or
um,
50 posts.
McDavid, McDavid did very, very well on that left half wall. He was very dangerous. He was really confident with the puck tonight. He just had it
That's
going on, and every time he had it, he made himself dangerous. They had to pay attention to him, and that freed up Draisaitl on the other side. Now, I do think I do think that Chason and Neal are kind of overdoing it on the more heavy hockey side in the middle of the ice, but
They don't normally have both of them, but with Nuge out,
with Nuge out.
their options are different.
But this power play, Bruce, I don't see why it can't be the best power play in the NHL this year.
Should be top,
Well,
near the
and I
top.
don't know if they're going to keep scoring at more than 30% rate, but they
No,
they could easily be. You have a hammer like Leon Draisaitl. You've got
they
Connor
could easily do
McDavid,
25% for a whole year, I think.
Nuge, Neal. I mean, Washington do like 28% last year, if I'm something like that, if I'm not mistaken. And they have
That
Ovechkin in the Draisaitl
yeah.
role. So if you have the right personnel, and I think the Oilers definitely have it, and they've even got some players who can fill in, right? Chaseon's not bad, and certainly Ethan Bear. If Clefbaum went down, Ethan Bear could step right in without a doubt. I mean, that would have been an interesting thing to put Ethan Bear out on the top unit tonight instead of Chase on. And but it certainly worked. So I'm going to
Yeah,
shut up.
we can't really complain about the results. 2 out of 2.
And what
You
about
know,
their PK boost, Bruce? Can
yeah.
that continue?
Well, I'm convinced the PK is actually improved. It's not just the goalie on a huge heater like Cam Talbot was for the first 2 months of 2016-17. I think they got different players, and I think they identified some problem guys that weren't good on the penalty kill, and they don't have them killing penalties anymore. And I'm talking specifically of Zach Cassian and Alex Jason. But a few other guys they moved out of town, and
Yeah.
and a few guys they brought into town that they specifically said we want to improve the penalty kill, and those guys have been getting the job done on that unit. So, and as for the power play, your point about McDavid changing, well, what I'm seeing with McDavid in the offensive zone on the power play, which stands out, is how he's moving his feet. He's using his speed. And oftentimes you see a power play, not a whole lot of motion, guys being set in position or switching off, but nobody sort of gaining ahead of speed. And McDavid's all over the place. And 1 second he might be in the corner making a 10-foot pass to Draisaitl, and the next second he might be across the ice making a 70-foot pass to Draisaitl. And the other team doesn't quite know how to contain him, and just when they figure out where he is, they forget about where Draisaitl is, and then boom. That first power play goal where Leon, well, first of all, Neil and Chason both won battle in the corner. And then Leon pulled the puck out from his backhand. He found McDavid in the slot. McDavid held, and he did this little feint, and he sipped his pass right through the guy's feet, right back onto Leon's stick and in the net. The net was bulging, and it seemed like Connor had just passed it. And just the work of art. And that time, McDavid was right in the center of the ice. The other power play goal, he was down in the left wing corner, and he's really racking up points on the special team. McDavid is.
He's never
And
been a
I
big.
think they've sprung him. They've said
Yeah.
improvise out there a little bit. Don't just let's not just fix guys to certain areas or zones that they're supposed to command. Let Connor skate. I mean that seems like a good decision to me.
Yeah, that's always been, I think, the best idea with him is just to go here, there, and everywhere, and have players who can read off you, and it seems to be working. Clefbaum's doing a good job as well, setting up the play, and they're just able to gain the zone so easily because McDavid. They have to respect McDavid's speed. They have to back off, and then Draisaitl can also gain the zone, and Nuge can also gain the zone, and so there's a lot. There's a lot to think that the Oilers' power play can be in the top five, probably maybe the best power play this year, and
No.
why not? I mean, Leon Draisaitl has always been absolutely fantastic at the half
Yeah, he finally got like he's only up to
third
three
ice
power
game.
play goals of the year now after the
Yeah,
two tonight. And most years he's good for double figures, so he was due to break out, and it's nice to break out with the tying and winning goals in Vancouver, I have to say. So, well done, Leon.
yeah, we hate the Canucks.
Well, there's history there. Let's put it that way.
All right.
Geographic rivals. I actually like their current team more than I've liked the
Oh
Canucks team in
yeah,
a long
this is
time.
a very good
They're
hockey team,
fast and
isn't it?
skilled, and they're fun to watch. So
Yeah,
nice to beat
Peterson
them.
and Hughes and
Jeez,
Brock
wow.
Besser. This is a very, very good hockey team. Much better than the Calgary Flames. All right.
Much more likable than the Calgary Flames. I will say that.
Let's leave it there, Bruce.
All right, Wednesday night Ottawa. See you
Thanks for
then.
talking.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.